Does your child have a stuttering problem? It doesn't mean they're not as smart as their classmates, but it could mean they're not taking part in class like they should, or maybe they're being teased by other kids.
And you can help your child overcome it. Some of the most famous actors and public speakers are stutterers. Folks like James Earl Jones, Bruce Willis, Julia Roberts. Jane Frazier heads up the Stuttering Foundation. Jane, welcome to Live at 9. Glad to see you this morning.
It's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
How common is stuttering these days? It's something that, it seems like we used to hear about a lot many decades ago, but is it still pretty prevalent these days?
We don't hear as much about it, but it still is prevalent. It's about 1% of the population. So we're talking 3 million Americans. That's a lot of folks that struggle with this.
Start in the, when you're young, when you're small?
Usually starts between the ages of 2 and 6. And that's when parents notice it. That's when a child begins to learn language. And so that's when it happens. There's so much going on. Learning new vocabulary, struggling to put the words in the right order. So much happening, and some children just have a little more trouble getting it all together.
Finding those right words, as you were pointing out earlier, and using the word struggle, it can be a great challenge for young people, can it not? Especially getting teased by others.
When it turns into teasing in the school years, that's when we really see the turn for the worse. So you want to get on top of it, and I think, as with most problems, early intervention is the key. Get on top of it when the child is 2 years old. You know, in the old days, they used to say, just wait, the child will outgrow it. And the fact of the matter is that about 80% of all children do outgrow stuttering. So the odds are on your side, but you want to make sure your child isn't in that remaining 20%.
Can it also be a common mistake many parents make by perhaps saying, well, my child will outgrow it, and they wait a little bit too long? Should they step up a little earlier?
They wait too long, and we hear from them, and they say, well, my child's in 2nd grade, and I was waiting for him to outgrow it. And they've lost 3 or 4 years. We really want to see them at 2 years old, 2.5 years old. Get them in. They don't necessarily have to have therapy per se at that point, but parents can be counseled. Many things you can do at home that will make a difference. One is to use more unhurried speech, just like Alex and April, good communication speech. Another, and I think this is a mistake that most of us make, asking a little child too many questions. Don't bombard them. What color is that? What is that? Do you recognize that? Slow down the questions if your child is struggling with speech.
So it may be that the parents, there may be some cause for it, different things that you're doing even at home that you don't even realize.
That's right. What you're doing does affect it. I mean, we think that there are 4 different elements here. One is genetics, and you can't do a thing about that. Some families have stuttering. My father stuttered, my uncle stuttered, I have cousins who stutter. We know that's so, but the younger cousins, because their parents made these lifestyle changes early, don't stutter anymore, at least not to the extent that my dad did.
So Jane, can stuttering affect one's success? We're right now looking at some pictures of some pretty famous faces of individuals who do have some type of speech impairment, but it seems like a lot of people can still make it in life.
They can definitely make it, and for youngsters, that's a great message. Certainly don't give up hope. That's why we feature these famous people, but
people such as who, for example?
James Earl Jones. If James Earl Jones were here with us today, he'd be the first to say, this was a real struggle for me, and it was only because of my 8th grade teacher that I was able to turn it around. She's the one who worked with just my regular language skills. And he does still stutter in a normal talking situation, but when he's on camera with his lines, as you know, you can't get any better than that.
Of course, he became the voice of CNN, this is CNN, and of course Darth Vader in Star Wars.
All the kids know that, and so that's a real inspiration for the kids.
Is it help if you go through adulthood and you still stutter? Is there help at that point?
Absolutely there's help, and we hear from people all the time. I think we know so much more about stuttering now. One of the exciting things we know is that therapy retrains the brain. So even if you've had these long-time patterns, and they become a pattern by the time you're 40 or 50, you can retrain yourself to speak in an easier way, like Winston Churchill, like James Earl Jones, like John Stossel, like Ken Venturi.
Even at the age of, if you're in your 40s or 50s, this still can be done. The brain can be retrained.
We have even spoken with people in their 60s and 70s who say we worked with some of these self-therapy techniques, or we worked with a local speech-language pathologist, and it has changed our life, even at age 60 or 70. So I think it's important not to give up hope.
And that's what you all do, the foundation?
That's what we do. We have a lot of exciting materials for all ages. We have video streaming for children, for parents. We have a 30-minute film at our website, which is stutteringhelp.org. Parents can watch that tape, and all these ideas that I've been throwing out are expressed by leading professors in the field.
Okay.
We have self-help materials for adults and teens.
Very good. The Stuttering Foundation, for more information, go to their website at stutteringhelp.org. Jane, thank you very much for being with us this morning.
Thank you so much.
We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.